Hello. Hey, for you guys that have kids, like, I don't know, man. I'm just so fucking in love at the moment with this guy. Are we best friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're best friends, right? We don't listen to those. What do the girls talk about? They only talk about what?
Bathroom.
Oh, they just talk about bathrooms. We don't want to talk about that, right? We want to talk about what?
Tiger.
Tigers and protein, right? Yeah. And what we want to be when we grow up. Exactly right. You hit the nail on the head, son. Okay, guys, if you're not in for any cuteness, then sorry about that, guys. Your boy's getting in on the action. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's do this. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This right here is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout plans. And my friends, this is episode 249. 249. We're nearing in on 250. Started this it was like 3 to 4 years ago. I don't know exactly. I can't even be bothered looking. And we've been putting this podcast into existence 2 to 3 times a week, doing our best to bring you guys the value. And in today's episode, I want to touch on breaking the chain in your family lineage. I want you to picture something for a second. You're sitting in a hospital room, right? Maybe it's your dad, maybe it's your mum, maybe it's someone in your family. Heart attack, cancer, diabetes complications, early onset dementia. And at some point, someone says the sentence, "It runs in your family." And you nod. But quietly in the back of your mind, there's a thought that you don't say out aloud. I'm next. That quiet fear, that silent acceptance, as if it's already written, like your surname is a diagnosis. How many of you listening to this podcast have something like that running in the family? A genetic condition. Today, I want to challenge that because, yep, you can't change your genes. That's your DNA. But you can absolutely change what they do. And the reason I'm doing this episode is because one of our clients, one of our beautiful clients, Vicky, has seen her partner, her beautiful partner, suffer some early onset brain issues, which has led to his degeneration. And she is such a brave woman, the way that she shows up for our community. And this episode is about you becoming the person in your family that changes the trajectory, the chain breaker, the pattern interrupter, the one your kids point at, and say, that's where it's all changed. And they point at you. We're going to talk about the big lie about genetics. Most people believe that genetics is fate. If dad had a heart attack at 52, I will probably have a heart attack at 52 as well, or thereabouts. If mum had breast cancer, it's coming for me. If diabetes runs in the family, it's inevitable. But what most people don't understand is while genes, your genetics, your DNA, load the gun, it's lifestyle that pulls the trigger. I am not saying you should resist any medication or go onto this spiritual. I'm not saying that. I'm not talking that shit. I am saying that you have control over your lifestyle where you don't have control over your genes. And there's an entire field of science called epigenetics. And what epigenetics basically is you don't have to understand the words. Here's what it means in plain English. Your genes are like light switches. Some of them can be switched on, some of them can be switched off. Your lifestyle and how you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you manage stress determines whether those switches flick. You may carry a risk, no doubt, but your risk is not a destiny. Heart disease, diabetes type 2, cancers, Alzheimer's disease, these diseases are heavily influenced by lifestyle behavior, not just your DNA. And so your surname is not a life sentence. And I really need you to hear that, because too many parents over the age of 35 and 40 are living like their decline is pre-booked in, and it's not. So what does lifestyle intervention actually mean? Like, when we hear the word lifestyle intervention, what does that actually mean? When people hear it, they imagine extremes. They imagine 2-hour workouts, green juice cleanses, tracking every single gram of food, cold plunges at 4 a.m., almost becoming a fitness influencer. That's not what I'm talking about. Lifestyle intervention in real world, like parent terms, what it means is moving your body daily, lifting weights a few times a week, eating mostly real food, prioritizing protein, trying to sleep properly. You manage alcohol, you manage stress by not just numbing it with alcohol and Uber Eats. That's it. We're not talking about being shredded. We're not talking about being chronically inflamed and metabolically broken for 20 years straight, because that's what drives the disease. Not one pizza, not one holiday where you fall off the horse, but 10 to 15 to 20 years of sedentary living, poor sleep, high stress, ultra processed foods, and drinking all the time. That's what drives disease. That's what switches on or flicks on your genetics. So what dose is actually required? If we're talking about lifestyle intervention, like, how much do you actually need to do to override your genetic risk? This is where a lot of people just get it wrong. They think that the only way to override their genetics is to become extreme. So they go from doing nothing to trying to do everything. And we all know, especially in our Better Body Academy, we all know that the moment we try to do everything all at once, guess what? We fall off. I'm looking at guys like Wayne Wallace. I'm reading through Tim's medical today, and I'm looking at those guys. Those guys have significantly increased their lifespan and their quality of life. And there is many a person who's done that. They're not extreme. Wayne's not extreme. Tim's not extreme. They're consistent. You need to be the same. You need the effective minimum dose done consistently. So what does that actually look like? Maybe it's 8 to 10,000 steps a day, maybe 2 to 3 strength sessions a week. You're having protein at every meal. You're eating some vegetables over the course of a day, eating some fruit over the course of the day. Like me, you're probably pushing hard in your career, but you're also trying to improve both your sleep quantity and quality over time. And alcohol is fine, but it's mostly social, at a social event once every week or couple of weeks. It's not nightly. That's not influencer life that we're talking about here. That's kind of like being a responsible adult, right? And here's what the research consistently shows. Moderate fat loss improves blood pressure out of sight. Think about it, right? Blood pressure. Listen to what it sounds like. The body is under pressure. Why is it under pressure? Because it's having to carry so much weight around. The moment, like Wayne, you lose 20 kilograms, all of a sudden, the pressure alleviates, and so does the pressure on the heart pumping the blood around. Strength training, it improves your diabetes risk. How? Because when you have muscles contracting like this, they're using the glucose that's circulating around in the blood. Okay, they're using it and getting it out of the bloodstream and into the muscle so it can be used as a fuel, so they're processing it. Walking reduces cardiovascular risk. Why is that? Same thing. Blood flow is being moved around the body. Things are being kept mobile versus just this like kind of position that most people end up in their day. None of this requires obsession, guys. It requires some level of consistency, and you don't need to look and act like a fitness model. You don't need to avoid this sedentary, crazy, inflamed existence for decades. If you're just consistent about this, and every time you fall off, you dust your knees off and go, oh, cool, I fucked up, start again. Like, that's the approach. But let's have the uncomfortable conversation. Okay, let's do this first, because the wake-up call is this. If you do nothing, what's the likely trajectory? Now, if you're in Better Body Academy right now, I'm going to bet that if you're listening to this podcast, you're one of the ones that are able to take consistent action. You keep resetting and you're working on yourself. Your trajectory doesn't necessarily mean uphill straight. How good's this? It's like gently trending upward. That's how it should look, because you're not doing extreme behavior. What about you? If you're listening and you're not in some sort of transformation at the moment, what's the trajectory? Blood pressure creeping up, cholesterol medication incoming, pre-diabetes, not really sure, energy's tanking, libido's fucked. Literally the idea of having sex is not even on your radar. Energy's tanking, brain fog's increasing, you're sore all the time, your posture's crap, and your kids are watching. They're watching how you handle the stress. They're watching how you eat. They're watching how you train. They're watching what you do for work. They're watching how much is left of you when you come home. And you're either passing down those habits or prescriptions. And here's the hard truth. Your kids, you could give them a great financial inheritance. Like, let's be honest, you could give them, like, that's a dream of mine, is to give my kids a good financial inheritance. But if you hand them your genetics and a shitty lifestyle model, what exactly are they inheriting? A house and heart disease? Savings and sedentary habits? Money and a fucked metabolism? Now flip it. You could give your kids little to nothing financially, but give them a blueprint for strength, a model of discipline, an understanding of how to look after their body, some confidence from being able to do some basic sports, to be able to move, some self-belief for doing hard things. That is generational wealth that they can then pass on to their kids. Of course, we want to give them both, right? Of course we do, money and health. But which one is going to compound over time? Which one actually is going to buy them freedom from the things that you've suffered with for all of your life? Which one's going to keep you around longer to see your grandkids? Health is the multiplier here. Everyone's investing in the share market and investment properties, but the one house they live in, they're treating like a fucking garbage tip. It's crazy. You're taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars, loan, paying interest with the bank, but not looking after the one house that you're going to live in for the rest of your life. When your brain is healthy, but your body's fucked. Like, think about this, guys. You can become the chain breaker, the person that makes the difference in your family. This is where it becomes bigger than fat loss. You're not just trying to lose your gut. You're trying to become the hero in your family story, the one who completely changed the trajectory, the one that said, this right here, this stops with me. This stops with me. Maybe your parents didn't know better. Maybe your parents didn't have access to the internet where they could come across a message like this. Maybe they worked so hard and survived and did the best that they bloody could. This isn't about blame. It's about opportunity. You have access to information right now in your fingertips within 10 seconds that they didn't have ever in the entirety of their lifetime. You know what processed food does. You know what activity does. You know what banging alcohol every night does. So now it becomes a choice, and you either continue that pattern or you interrupt it, you break it, and change it. Your kids see you train. That matters. Even if you're not losing weight, they see you train. That's you showing and not telling. Your kids see you cooking real food. That matters. You see your kids, they see you going for a walk instead of just crushing beers on the couch. That matters, because that identity is contagious. and you're building theirs every day. Even if your kids are grown up now, do you not think that if your kids were struggling a little bit with their health and then all of a sudden they saw dad at 50 years old deciding to do something about it, they'd be like, fuck, mum and dad are doing it. Like, Jesus, like, we better do something about this. One day, your son, whether you're a mum or a dad, or an uncle, or a brother, you're going to have someone say to you, dad always trained. That was normal. My dad just took me for runs on the beach. That was normal because he could. That's what he did. One day your daughter might say, well, mum always cooked. She just cooked healthy food. She put protein at every meal. I don't know. I don't know anything different. The reason, like, I had a blessed upbringing, not a privileged upbringing. I had a blessed upbringing because my parents showed me the way. That's lineage change. That's legacy. So where do you actually start? If you're just not doing it at the moment, or you're still stuck a little bit, that's okay. Where do you start? Start walking. Just start walking. Don't do anything else. Start walking. If you're already walking, maybe we start training at home with a set of dumbbells, 2 30-minute sessions a week. You need a program so you know what you're doing. But that's it. You just start there. These aren't like you need to train for a marathon. That's not what we're talking about here. You need to have some protein in your diet. You can't survive on 30 grams of protein a day. You need to build protein into your breakfast as a start point. You need to start replacing these ultra-processed foods with real foods in your diet. Reduce alcohol a little bit. You don't have to cut it out necessarily. Just like reduce it a little bit. Go for a walk instead of a beer. I mean, that sounds so basic, but this is where it starts. You don't need perfection. You need a direction, and they're just small shifts repeated for years. And now you have overridden history, not with intensity, not with becoming a fitness influencer, but through your action, through your consistent action and your willingness to fail and mess it all up and then start again. How do you possibly step on the scales, and even if the scale hasn't moved in 6 months, but your daughter has seen you consistently working out, you can't ignore that. Like that for me is, I cannot wait to be able to go to the gym with my son. You can't change your DNA. Guys, as we wrap this up, you can't change your DNA, but you can absolutely change how it behaves. Your family history explains you. It doesn't define you. Someone in your bloodline, someone in the next 500 years is going to be the brave one who changes it. The one who lives longer than everyone else. Because they decided, I'm not going to accept this intergenerational handing down of bad health. Why not let it be you? You're the fucking one. You're the one that breaks the cycle. The one who 20 years in the future looks back and says, my parents, my uncle, my auntie, they showed me the way. Because real wealth isn't what you just leave behind. It's how long that you are here to show them. It's the lessons that you taught. That might sound cliched and inspirational, but think about it, man. What could make you happier when you're on your last days than just being like, your kids or your family members saying to you like, fuck, like, that man, that woman, like, that taught me how to live. You feel me? And maybe that someone is you. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you for another episode. Hopefully this one has cut through a little bit deeply. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace. You just hit the nail on the head, said Wayno. I love that. Thanks, Andrew. There's so many genetic conditions, isn't there? That it's like you can't do anything about these things, but don't accept them. Don't accept them as fatalistic. This is like you guys in Better Body Academy are doing the work. How was this? That your kids are copying you, and what I'm pleading for you to understand is that even if your results are slow, even if you can't get it right, that's okay. They're still watching. They're watching the behaviors. They're not noticing the difference in your weight bobbling around on the scales. They don't see that. They're seeing the behaviors and they're thinking, man, maybe I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll lift weights when I'm. And Vicky says, I love your passion, Vix, because, dude, someone like you are like, you've been in the dieting mindset for what, 3 decades? And you're breaking that, Vicky. You're breaking that. You're changing your identity. Why wouldn't I be passionate? This is the one thing beyond my family that like truly makes me happy, because if you could just cut through to one person and get them to understand this message that you don't have to just accept what's given to you, my gosh, things can change really quite quickly. All right, team, I'm going to jet out of this one. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely end to the day. Boys, to the fellas watching on, just reminder, Dom will be running a coaching call in approximately 3 hours from now. And as normal, I will be on for tomorrow's coaching call for the guys that want to join me as well. Try to get to one of those 2 coaching calls, boys. All right, come and check in. Come and tell us how you're doing. Come and ask for advice. This is where the magic happens. Come and show up.